I'm Stargate Pioneer,
I'm Haley.
And I'm Lauren from Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now.
The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts
at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3,
2,
1.
You are listening to the Starling Tribune, a podcast dedicated to the Arrow TV show.
This guy gets more airtime than the Kardashians, right?
This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, situations, and stories are the properties of Time Warner. I am at Oracle, and this is your Tribune.
And your reporters for this special summer edition of the Starling Tribune, covering off-season developments and announcements leading up to Season 4. I am Stargate Pioneer. My friends call me SP. And with me is Chris.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm a little rusty.
And the producer of this wonderful show, Wing.
Woo! It's full of DC goodness, and Ben Affleck is Batman.
And our special co-host guest tonight, we love him, you love him. His name is Neil.
Yeah, is it October already? Did I miss the first episode?
No, not yet. We're not at the first episode yet. And I, of course, am SP. It's rewatch time. And why do I say that? Because my wife is actually watching Arrow right now. She's in the middle of Season 2 and will be entering Season 3 soon. So it has been fun seeing that on the background.
I'm so jealous because I just swapped out cable services, so I no longer have my DVR full of Season 3 episodes of Arrow, and I'm far too cheap to go buy them individually online. So I can't rewatch anything, and I'm jealous.
Yeah, guess who bought the Season 3 iTunes Pass? I didn't have.
Nice.
I didn't have a choice. I had to do it. She's like, "Where can I get it?" I'm like, "Well, about the only thing we could do is no. We're not going to do that. All right, I'll buy it." So there we go. So this podcast is recorded on Friday, July 24th, 2015. We are just a few guys that discuss the TV show Arrow. Just a little reminder that I am definitely not a comic expert. I'm actually more of a sci-fi guy, but I'm catching up with the comic lore thanks to people like Neil.
Yeah, I consider myself a lapsed comic fan who's definitely returned to the fold and spends way too much money on Comixology.
As well as our resident comic geeks, Wing.
Yeah, well, I know a lot about comics because I read a lot of them in the last 10 years, but I'll have to be honest, in the last year, I'm not up to date. I'm not even sure what happened now with Convergence and Secret Wars. There's a lot of new people. Chris is up to date, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris doesn't read any DC comics right now. Well, correction, I read the Arrow Season 2.5 stuff, but I'm probably about 10 issues behind. So that's the only DC books I'm reading right now. So sorry, guys, I suck.
Chris, I has a sad.
I know. I just got behind and then forgot about it. Ever since they updated the Comixology app so I couldn't buy comics in-app, it's become just a pain in my butt, so I forget to buy them now.
Yeah, that was a mishap that they did. The only comic that I read these days, like, so often are a Saga, because...
I was going to say, it better be Saga.
Yeah, Saga and Grayson, and I think I'm 2 behind on Grayson, so give you an idea. It's the summer, we're busy, it's,
I thought I was going to have more time in the summer. That is not the case. This has been the busiest time I've ever had in my entire life.
Yes, I have less time in the summer because there's so much more thing to do.
Yeah, I just, a lot of stuff going on in my house, and although the comic books that I have been able to read, I got this little iPad mini to use as a soundboard, and I'm actually liking it more and more for Comixology. It's like my go-to now. A lot better than that Surface RT. Sorry, Felicity, but that's not the greatest thing around. There's no Comixology app for it, too, or panel or tile or whatever they call it.
Felicity's only using that because the CW overlords mandated it. It's okay.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. But the iPad mini is a perfect format for comic, I find, because it's almost as big as the comic used to be. And since you can do the motion swipe, I love the motion swipe. Just saying.
Yeah, I read mine on an iPad Air, and I don't even have to do the swipe or the zoom into panels. I just swipe through the pages because it's almost exactly full page size on there. I love it.
I might get an iPad Air specifically to be a comic book reader when they go on sale
Yeah.
through the deal sites and stuff like that. I'm not ready to pay full price for one of those
Well,
puppies.
you could go back as far as the iPad 3 and basically be able to use it for a comic one because that was my last iPad, and that's when they went to the Retina display on it, and it was gorgeous for comics. And Comixology is not really a strain on the older hardware.
Right. So we'll see. We'll see
I'm
as
just
it.
trying to help you spend your money. I suppose.
Yeah, right. Because I've helped you guys all spend significant amount of money on some podcast gear, so we can sound good on the network.
I'm just trying to ensure you can have some more high quality unboxing videos. And if you do an iPad 3, I'm sure you could do a fantastic unboxing video.
You know,
Let's
I
get a point.
did not do an unboxing video for my new laptop, which we are streaming right now on YouTube to the Gonna Geek site for the Starling Tribune. So I did not do it, but it is in place right now. It is the first time it's being used, and it is not blowing up like my old one used to do. So we are good. I kind of had the Cody curse for a while there, but not anymore. Anyway, I need to send off a warning right now. Neil has put it in the show notes, so I need to say it. This is some spoiler warning. We're going to be talking some off-season news, some of which will be spoilerish for the season of Arrow. We're going to go into depth and character knowledge, Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con specifically, and anything else that's been in the news so far. So if you don't want to hear about the characters coming up or the storylines that large arcs, no actual spoilers of, big moments and stuff like that, but we will be talking about crossovers and stuff like that. So if you don't want to hear about that, probably need to turn your iPod off right now, or phone, or whatever you're listening to this with, and catch it later when the season actually airs. But if you're interested in hearing a little bit of where we're heading, this is probably where you want to be, right, Neil?
Yeah, definitely. I think we got a lot of awesome goodness that Greg Berlanti and Mark Guggenheim and the rest of the gang have laid on us over the summer. So yeah, looking forward to getting into it.
We clearly have terrific news.
We do. To start out with, the air date for season 4 premiere is October 4th, which I see Neil has put in red in the show notes. That is 74 days away from when we're recording.
Okay. I have a counter for Star Wars, but yes, I can start one for Arrow too.
Okay, so we're 74 days away from Arrow. How many days are we away from Star Wars?
Where's my phone?
Too many. The answer is too many.
While Wing is getting that, I will mention that it will air on Wednesdays this year, which is pretty much the same as it did last year. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and I assume for Mountain and Pacific time frame, we're talking about the same thing. It's going to be on the CW, and for our Canardian friends, it's going to be on CTV. So that is cool.
146 days.
46. So that's like double of Arrow. It's like 2 arrows away right now.
Oh my God,
Well, think of it this way. At least you'll have Arrow and the Flash to keep you distracted until Star Wars drops.
Guys, when we're going to do a podcast, you're not supposed to bum me out before we start by making me realize how long I've got till Star Wars.
Well, I will say that I did read the article, and I saw that Flash was coming back October 4th. Does that help a little?
No.
I try.
I like the Flash, but it's not Star Wars.
It's not. It's not. And for the record, Chris and I have gone to see Ant-Man. Neil, have you seen it yet?
Oh, yeah. Wing and I were casting on it
last night
on Legends.
Okay. So we've all seen Ant-Man, and I don't know about the rest of you, but Chris and I both saw the Batman versus Superman trailer and the Star Wars trailer before the movie started, and the theater was rocking for Star Wars. Batman versus Superman, I got crickets.
I had the inverse experience in my theater.
I don't think it's really fair to compare some things to Star Wars, though, either, because there's how many years of hype behind that.
Yeah, in my theater, though, I have to say that there was like 46 person watching Star Wars, not Star Wars, but Ant-Man. So maybe these people clearly seen the Star Wars trailer like dozens of times.
Well, so have I, but I was still excited to see it on the big screen. I'll be honest. Well, I'm one of those fans, though, so just bear that in mind.
Yeah, we had I think 10 people in our theater by the time it started, and I think we're all very happy for whatever we got leading up to Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Right. And to hear more about Ant-Man, you can catch the Legends podcast stream or the Legends of Shield podcast stream. We've both done podcasts on Ant-Man, and so you can catch those out. It'll be episode number 82 on the Legends of Shield when it comes out. Wing, do you have a release date in mind for your podcast yet?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay. So July 25th will be the release date of Ant-Man.
Yeah, and it's a 254. What am I saying?
254. So we did get some general overview ideas from what's going to happen in the Arrow season. Neil, did you take a look at this article?
Yeah, I did. And there's a lot of fun stuff coming up in season 4. I think the casting crew have teased a lot of it at SDCC. We're going to be seeing it picking up after a regular 5-month break, just like they've done in prior seasons. So, real time passes while we're on the summer. We're going to pick back up with Oliver and Felicity, and we'll talk more about them later in the cast. And as I think came out at SDCC, it's going to get a bit lighter. I think Ollie's not going to be in quite as dark a place. And it's the evolution towards the Green Arrow that we know from other media, like the comics, like Justice League Unlimited. And I think that's a great thing. I think it's a natural evolution of the character towards a hero.
Well, it's a natural progression of the character that they're doing, too. I'm really happy that they're making, like, a break and say, like, okay, this was the prelude, if you want, how he became the Green Arrow. That's this dark past. Now let's see who the Green Arrow really is. And just the fact that the new suit, and last spoiler alert there, the new suit is sleeveless. And that's something they always said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Well, they went there, and the new suit really looked like the new 52 suit.
It does.
Yeah, the suit, of course, I'm not as steeped in the comic lore as you guys are, but the new suit does seem more functional and more badass to me. I like it. And, by the way, did you guys see it on Stephen Amell?
I did. It was awesome.
That speech that he did at Comic-Con was just great.
Oh, you want to hear it again?
Yes.
Okay, here we
Bring
go.
it on.
We're going to play it.
Are we?
After 5 years away, I came home with only one goal. I wanted to save my city. Along the way, I gained a brother. I saw people that I have known my entire life become superheroes. And I fell in love. But I lost people. Forever. The person that I was and the persona that I created, he failed. But Star City, not Starling City, Star City still needs saving. And all of you, you can bet your last dollar that me and my team will bust our asses trying to save it or breathe our last breaths trying. Yeah! All of you have come with us this far, and I would ask you to come just a little bit further with the Green Arrow.
God, it's so cool.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
It's so cool.
I'm
He's
grinning like an idiot.
Yeah, I am too.
Love
They really
those.
decided to step up this year with the Comic-Con panel.
Yeah, I love those Independence Day sort of speeches where they're just pumping you up and stuff like that. It's so great. Our last breaths. Oh, so heartwarming.
He's good. He became really, really good at that.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how much he's evolved in just 3 years, basically, on this show. Because think back to like season 1. Would you have expected that he could have gone on stage and done something like that?
Nope.
Yeah.
He did the lead-in for the entire CW franchise and the WB, I think, this year and last year. That shows you the amount of faith that the WB and the CW have in Stephen Amell to lead their franchise in genre fiction.
Well, he's responsible for what, 3 shows on that network now? Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and arguably it's his success that caused Supergirl to happen. So
Yep.
And he is singularly responsible for the possibility of bringing Constantine back from the depths of cancellation.
this is true.
That would be really cool because a couple of things that they said about the next season is that they will go into the mystic side of DC a little bit more. So that's something that they could bring on, and bunch of different avenue that opens at that point.
I would love to see them start going down the route of having like Doctor Fate and Zatanna and things like that too. That would be fun, I think.
Phantom Stranger and a whole bunch of characters like that.
Yes.
So we definitely saw the new suit on Stephen Amell. Looked amazing.
And they released a picture of it immediately after that panel too. And they were very, very smart about it.
Which is great to see the interaction, because not everybody can go to San Diego Comic-Con anymore. And it's not that people don't want to go. I would actually want to go, but the hassle, the expense, the possibility of not getting a full, 5-day weekend-long badge. For me, traveling across the country to get there and only be able to go one day, it's not worth it. Okay, downtown San Diego, the Gaslight District is fun to be at, but if I'm there, I want to be in the panels. I want to walk the floor, and without a badge, you can't get in there. So I think these IPs, these shows, these films have finally gotten it and said, okay, we can't show exclusive footage anymore because not everybody, our fan base is actually going to turn against us for not showing it. So they show it on YouTube. They show it, wherever they can, and for the most part, it works.
But they haven't understand yet. They're starting to understand because look for the Suicide Squad. That's something that they intended only for Comic-Con.
Right.
And the next day they were like, "Oh, people are like leaked it, so here it is," and they were kind of bitchy about it.
They tried to shame us about the fact that it leaked. And let's be honest, if you go to Comic-Con, stuff like that is going to leak. You need to expect it. Don't try and make me feel bad that I wanted to watch your product.
But for some reason, Warner is still expecting it's not going to be because look, last year the Batman footage never came out. It never did.
Yeah, but then look what they did this year with it though. They showed it there and then immediately released it on YouTube. The message isn't consistent.
And this year it worked. I mean, it's like they're learning about bit by bit, year by year. Next year, probably everything's going to be on YouTube the minute they show it in the hall.
Well, I mean, that's what they have to do. Look what Star Wars did. They've been incredibly smart. They showed a trailer at Star Wars Celebration. Within minutes of showing said trailer, it's on YouTube. They showed new behind-the-scenes footage and practical effects stuff from San Diego Comic-Con. It was up on YouTube within an hour of showing it off there. That's what you need to do. Yes,
Yeah.
Comic-Con's a great place to show this off to begin with, but people get really butthurt if they can't see it or they just see the bootlegs or hear people talk about it. Like, well, I want to experience this too. So you really should try and cash in on that buzz.
You
That's
should.
what I would think.
Did
I
you
agree
guys?
with you.
Did you
I'm
guys?
just saying that they're long to learn? That's it.
Did you guys hear about the Doctor Who panel? So they show a little video, a sizzler reel or whatever, of the next series of Doctor Who, and because of the time difference and everything, the Doctor Who staff set the stuff to release at the start of the panel. Well, the problem is the panel didn't start until 5-10 minutes late. So people around the world actually saw the video first versus the people in Hall H. So,
But if it's a couple of minutes, who cares?
yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a matter of if they. I get more of a problem if you show something there, and then you expect that there's no way it's going to leak, and then you get mad when people are angry they can't see it or they go and find the leak. You can't have it both ways.
Right. But anyway, they showed it. It was great, and then we all have seen the sizzler reel, which is basically a recap of season 3 because they hadn't filmed anything yet of season 4.
About all they'd done is do some costume design, and we saw that there because Stephen Amell wore it.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
But then the panel was great because they started to get into where people are going to be at the rest of or in season 4 and some of the new characters and things that Stephen Amell hinted at, like changing Starling City to Star City, changing from Arrow to Green Arrow, which I think they're all things that as comic book fans we're pretty pumped about.
So did they just take away our name power from us by becoming Star City?
Oh.
Those sons of bitches.
And I might add, I know that the Star Tribune is an actual paper. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was an actual paper in a major city in the United States, which it's Minneapolis, St. Paul. It was the Minneapolis Star Tribune.
Okay.
So basically, I don't think we have the rights to that. That's what I'm trying to say.
What about the Star City Tribune?
Yeah, probably.
I shouldn't have said that on the air. Someone's going to steal it before I even had a chance to look.
I think we're just going to keep Starling Tribune for now.
I do too. I was joking as I said it, so please no one take me seriously that we're going to rename everything.
Chris, I don't think anybody ever takes you seriously.
They shouldn't. I mean, you should have learned by now. You people have heard me podcast for how many years now? Never take me seriously.
Nope. So, yeah, we got a lot out of that, and it's been great. Now, we have found little tidbits of information on the main characters, or at least most of the main characters that we're going to see in season 4. So we're going to go a little bit into it. Like I mentioned before, it's a little bit spoilerific. So we talked a little bit about Oliver. He's becoming the Green Arrow instead of Arrow. One of the things that I know is happening is that he is going to remain in a happy relationship with Felicity. So you shippers out there, you're going to get your wish for an entire season, or at least most of it. And Felicity is still the CEO of Palmer Tech, which means she got the money.
You got the sugar mama.
There you go. Team Arrow got a sugar mama.
Well, that means she can allocate resources to the Arrow Cave when she needs them. I think that's a good thing for the entire team.
Well, is it Arrow Cave? It's more like an Arrow penthouse now.
Yeah, because she has an helicopter on the roof now.
Yeah.
And she's got the keys.
They've got Queen Consolidated back, just not named Queen Consolidated.
So what's happening with Arsenal? What's happening with Roy? I mean, I heard he's leaving, but he might be back. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so the skinny with Roy is that he's definitely coming back as a guest star in occasional episodes. They haven't booked in, I think, for 4 episodes over the course of the season. But he's taken back a regular full-time gig with the series that he was on before joining Arrow, which was MTV's Teen Wolf, where he plays one of the villains. So, no more Roy as a full-time character, but we will get to see him from time to time, maybe to mentor or interact with Thea, probably.
I know the female members in my household will be happy to see Mr. Roy back. That's for sure. So we're getting a new character, and I'm not versed in the comics. I don't know much about him. Mr. Terrific. Wing, do you know anything about him?
Mr. Terrific is kind of he's kind of a Tony Stark, if you want. He's a super brain. Basically, his superpower is that he has a natural ability for natural abilities. So he can learn anything super fast, any concept or stuff like that. And he usually has these, like, I think it's, I don't remember the name, but he has these balls. Balls are terrific.
I think they're T-spheres.
T-spheres. Thank you. Oh, I like balls. T-balls. Come on. Yes,
I'm so glad
He's got
I have.
balls of steel that whip around his head.
There you go. That goes around and that does a bunch of different things. Basically, he's shielded to tech, but can do anything with it. So I would say it's a Ray Palmer replacement.
Yeah, definitely. I think what they've said in a lot of the articles is that he's going to be partnered up with Felicity for a lot of the season as another tech genius. And the really cool thing that came out again at SDCC is that they're introducing him as a gay character, so more LGBTQ representation on the CW and on Arrow, which is a great thing. And he seems like a great actor. I'm excited about the addition to the team.
CW always bringing the pretty, as Haley says every time. So talking about pretty, we've got Thea, a.k.a. Speedy.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to update the suit?
I think there'll be changes made, yeah.
Well, you got to feminize it.
Yeah, and she's happy to be Speedy. She, at Comic-Con, she saw pictures of herself in the suit. She's like, why aren't I wearing this right now? That looks great.
That's awesome.
So Arsenal will be back as a guest star. Do you think he's going to put on the red suit anymore, or do you think it's completely changed and Thea will have it from now on?
No, I don't think he's gonna wear it anymore.
Okay.
Except if he comes back to the show at some point, I don't think he's gonna wear it anymore.
So,
That's my opinion.
so we
Sorry.
got, so we got Thea. Anything more to say about her?
I'm just, I think quite a few casts ago on Starling Tribune, we were all trying to figure out what she would come back as. Would she come back as Artemis? Would she come back as Speedy? Would she be in yellow? Would she be in red? Would she be in green? I think it was great at the end of the season where she came back in red. She's coming back as Speedy, and that's a good thing. Well, let's just see what they do with the costume, and I think I'm pumped to see where that character goes.
Talking about pumped, like pumping you up. Apparently, Laurel Lance has been working out and training hard in the off season.
Yeah, so if you follow Katie Cassidy on Instagram, she's been posting pictures of her workout regimen and her training regimen, and she's been doing a lot of work with the eskrima sticks, it looks like. I think that's how you say it. I might have said it incorrectly.
I don't know. How do you say it? Wing?
Wing would know because Nightwing uses them. Is it eskrima or crema sticks or
Eskrima stick.
eskrima sticks? It looks like she's been training with some eskrima sticks in addition to other stuff, and she is definitely throwing herself into the physicality of the role, which will be fun to watch.
Definitely. She's got a lot of lost time to make up for. A lot of people don't particularly care for the character as it has developed. And yeah, I think she's going to take this season to win over a few more fans, maybe. Right, Chris?
Here's hoping. We know that I haven't been a huge fan, so I'm willing to be converted.
I liked her in season 3. Personally, season 3 made her grow on me, so I'm kind of happy to have her back in the costume.
Right. And talking about costumes or super suits, we got
my super suit?
some Diggle.
Yeah, when people joke about the where is my super suit, it always makes me smile. More Incredibles in pop culture is always a good thing. But yes, David Ramsey has joked that Black Driver is coming back, and that he probably won't be called Black Driver. But,
I hope they call him that as a joke or something.
That would be great.
Yeah, but they're saying that he's finally picking up some identity concealment apparatus. What people were saying again at Comic-Con and on the convention circuit is it's a black motorcycle outfit, black leather jacket, and some kind of helmet with a face cover. There's a bunch of fan interpretations out there. I don't know what they're going to go with. It looks not just like a motorcycle helmet, but kind of an integrated visor that'll give him a heads-up display, low light, all that kind of stuff, which I think would be very cool. I mean, he's working with Felicity and Palmer Tech, so just using off-the-shelf gear doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm really excited to see what they do with Diggle. I think what they also confirmed is he's not going to be Green Lantern in the Arrowverse.
Right,
That bums
right.
me out a little bit. And David Ramsey also confirmed the fact that he's not going to stay butthurt towards Oliver for a good chunk of the season. The way they were describing it sounded like within the first 4 episodes, he and Ollie are back on the same page.
Well, it is 5 or 6 months later, so
That's true.
they've had some time to cool off.
He's had some time to stew while Ollie's out touring the country with his girl.
In his convertible and everything.
His convertible.
Great.
Well, actually, what he really did is he went to New York City and became Casey Jones for a summer. We know that's the truth.
Isn't that convertible then at this point?
Probably.
We've discussed the money situation before. Ollie probably still has some cash on hand. We just don't know how much.
And we also don't know if Felicity realizes when season 3 ends that she's in charge of Palmer Tech at that point.
Yeah, she doesn't. She just signed the paperwork. But she's usually observant. I think she kind of knew, but we'll see.
There's a lot of stuff going on. She didn't seem to be looking very close. So my guess is whenever Ray's accident is uncovered, that's what kind of brings them back, is that, oh, hey, you're in charge of this company because we think Ray Palmer's dead.
Right. Yeah, and the building blew up. I mean, they might be looking for her for that. Like she might have been in there. We don't know.
Oh crap! Where's Ms. Smoke?
Talking about smoke and mirrors, we might see a little bit of magic and mysticism through Constantine. Maybe not. Right, Chris?
So that's what they've been saying. We know Stephen Amell last season was trying very hard to have a Constantine and Arrow crossover, and I think we touched about it on the show. But in case people didn't remember, last season they wanted to try and bring in Matt Ryan's Constantine character to consult about the Lazarus Pit, since that was introduced. Now, going forward this year, they did an interview, IGN did an interview with one of the executive producers, Wendy Marisil, I think is how you say it.
Yep.
And they were asking about Constantine. She goes, yeah, we really want to do it. It's something we've been talking to DC about. It's just a question of some political things, but also the actor's schedule. We're trying to work it out, but we don't know 100% if it's going to happen. But we're really optimistic, and we'd love to have him. So Team Arrow is all on board about having Constantine in some capacity. And we already know Sarah Lance is coming back, and presumably it seems like it's from a Lazarus Pit. So if they use the Lazarus Pit, they could still use that whole theory from season 2 of having Constantine consult about the powers of that to come and check her out after she's resurrected to try and diagnose any lingering issues, or even any lingering issues in Thea.
So we got some businessmen on the podcast here, whether we like it or not. It's where our minds go. Constantine was on NBC. That is not a CBS. That is not a CW property. How the heck do they get the rights to Constantine moved over from NBC, which had acquired the rights, to CW?
That way. You don't sign the contract you used to sign. Now, as long as you produce it, it's good. If you cancel it, the right goes back to you right away. And the right of using what they created. You don't get money for what they've done, but you can still use this intellectual property that they side created under your umbrella.
Yeah, my guess was once the show got canceled, the IP reverts back to DC in this case. So it's just a matter of Team Arrow, so CW has to make a deal with DC to bring Constantine in. And there's nothing stopping them from bringing in the exact same actor, assuming he's game to do it. And my hope is that he is.
That'll mean I'll have to go back and watch it, but oh well.
It's worth it. I was sad when it ended. I was watching it on Fridays when it came out, and it was a solid show. I miss it.
Well, and if you're DC, you kind of realize at this point that, hey, if we put something on Arrow, it's probably going to become popular because, look, they're getting a damn movie out of the Suicide Squad because of Arrow.
Oh, yeah, but that just irritates me every time it comes up.
I know, same here. It irks me a little bit, too.
Especially since I just saw the episodes. I saw the episode. Oh,
does it hurt your heart a little bit?
It ripped it out, especially when they did the little non-shot of, Jay's favorite character.
Yeah, but
Mama Smoke.
But then I see the trailer for the movie, and I'm like, oh, wow.
Yeah, I need to see that. You know what else I can't wait to see back? Sarah Lance.
Yes, please.
Okay,
yeah.
I have one big complaint. A really huge complaint.
I think I know what he's going to say, but let's hear it.
The white canary suit, no boob window?
I knew he was going to say boob window.
What the hell?
Well, it's there. You just can imagine it.
No, they trace it. It's traced on the suit, but it's not there.
Well, just Photoshop it later in your mind. You're fine.
Whatever.
Wing, your mind is powerful enough to imagine a window there, I'm sure.
Oh, sure.
All right, Wing, sit here a second. Close your eyes and imagine the boob window. Do you see it?
Actually, I see Power Girl right now.
Okay, fair enough. Same difference.
So what do we got going on with Sarah? There's the whole thing with Legends of Tomorrow. There's the pit that she's coming. I mean, what's going on with Sarah?
Yeah, I think they've been pretty good about keeping us in the dark. Like, we know it's probably going to be the Lazarus Pit and that she's going to be one of the lead characters on Legends of Tomorrow. They've also said that she's going to be appearing first in Arrow. So before we head into Legends of Tomorrow, we get her joining the Arrow crew, which is going to be great to see how she interacts back with her dad, with her sister.
Quentin Lentz is going to go nuts.
His heart's going to explode.
He's never going to believe again when they're going to tell him again, yeah, she's dead. It's like, yeah, wait 2 years.
Yeah, and so side note, we brought up Quentin real quick. Do you think he's really going to buy the fact that there's a new vigilante called the Green Arrow that isn't in fact the Arrow? I mean, there's some forced dumbness on characters in this show, but that seems like a real force.
I think he's gonna come in on it.
I think he's going to be on the team.
Or is he going to bury the hatchet finally and be like, okay?
Yeah,
I think he's going to be on the team because he's going to have his two girls are basically the two sidekicks.
So when does Quentin become a superhero then?
never. He's got a bad heart.
Everyone on this show becomes a damn superhero. He's going to be.
He's Gordon. You need your guy on the inside, you know? He's the inside man.
Yeah, but Gordon never turned on Batman.
You know, what are we? He's going to become mayor.
No,
could be Ollie
Oliver,
that
No,
becomes the
Ollie
mayor.
should
Ollie's
become
gonna
mayor.
become mayor.
Yeah.
No, Ollie's going to become mayor after Quentin dies.
Ooh.
Oh, did I just pull a J? Did I just blow your minds? Oh,
Well, I like
Mind
that.
blown.
Yeah,
Well,
I like that theory.
I'm just kind of thinking about what Jay's going to say if they actually did kill off Quentin, because I think that would hurt him
well,
emotionally.
I don't know because Quentin pissed multiple of us off last season. He wasn't portrayed very well.
The writing on Quentin was inconsistent, to say the least.
Right.
Yeah.
But if Sarah does come back, do you think he'll be able to mend the relationship with Ollie based on that fact?
I don't know.
He's still got to mend the relationship with his daughter.
Yeah. I can't wait to see. So again, episode 4 of season 4 is when they're kind of doing the Legends of Tomorrow crossover. They're bringing Sarah back and a couple of the other Flash characters in that one. And I am waiting for the first character that says, "No, we can't tell Quentin; it'll break his heart." Like, have you learned nothing from prior seasons?
Yeah, this is what came back to bite you in the ass last season when you decide, oh, we can't tell Quentin. I know where Ollie was coming from. It wasn't his place to tell him.
But you know what? Usually there's fairly good writing on Arrow, and I think that they might actually have this exact conversation. So I'm gonna say we can't say it, and somebody else gonna be like, no, but seriously, we went to that road 3 times. I'm calling Quentin right now.
Yeah, let's hope Ollie learned something in the prior seasons.
Yeah, one thing that he's had experience with is the villains, and one of which is Merlin, who's still around. Matter of fact, Ollie put him in power, basically.
You mean Ra's al Ghul?
Yeah, that's true. Ra's al Ghul. Merlin has the ring, and apparently he's had his own ring made. I mean,
I could see John Barrowman doing that.
why not? He was probably walking around like that, too.
He probably walked around Comic-Con wearing the ring.
And nothing else?
Well,
in true Barrowman style.
I don't even want to know where the ring went.
Well, he's got one. He's going to be Ra's al Ghul at the beginning of the show. Apparently, the producers have been mum on how long that will last, or if it will last. So it'll be interesting to see Merlin's character develop, whether he'll last the season, whether he'll last the season as Ra's al Ghul, and see how that
it's
goes.
Malcolm. I think we can expect it not to last because he generally comes up with great plans and then they come off the rails near the end.
The question is, when does Ra's al Ghul come back? Because he's Ra's al Ghul.
True.
Yeah, and Barrowman actually said in one of the interviews that, like he believes that the body of Ra's al Ghul wasn't recovered by the League of Assassins, so that sets it up kind of perfectly.
That would be, but we also have to remember Roz was saying that Pitt does not work on him very well anymore.
There are other means, as we've
Yeah,
seen.
but it's embody into him because he bait on him for so long.
It's true.
All
I
you
mean,
need-
if you're going the more mystical route this season, you could go a different path than the Lazarus Pit, I suppose.
All you need to do is go to the top of that mountain that's an hour drive away from Star City, throw him off the top, have him lay on the ledge for a little while, freeze him a little bit, and he'll be fine.
SP, it's an hour away from Starling City. We know how things move around, so we're not sure how far Starling City is away from Nanda Parbat.
Or-
Star City is.
Or what universe we're going to be in. Let's not forget what happened in Flash.
Right.
Oh, that would be funny. That's why he's a Green Arrow now and everything. They're
'Cause the
teasing all
multiverse
that.
broke.
Yeah, they're teasing all that stuff, but the multiverse broke.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen? Really, seriously, who knows what's going to happen? Flash kind of holds all the cards right now, and it's a good thing that Flash is going to premiere on October 4th, which is 3 days before this.
So the fanboy part of me would love to see something happen where with the multiverse is broken, you get like the Green Arrow from the Dark Knight Returns somehow end up in our Starling City temporarily or something like that. The one-armed Oliver Queen that's angry at everything. I'd be like, oh, that'd be so cool. No, it'll never happen. Don't get me wrong, folks. This will never happen. But it would be cool. And those of you that write fanfic, feel free to write it. Just credit me for it.
I wouldn't
Future
say...
Cyborg, Green Arrow, and Roy Harper. because the same thing happened to Roy Harper.
Yes.
That would be great.
I don't think you're far from the mark. It will never happen. I don't think that's true, because if Flash does go into a multiverse very briefly, you could do that in a episode, and then Flash would come back to the regular universe or whatever.
Yeah.
You could.
I'd rather think that it's going to be some combination of Constantine and maybe characters like Jason Blood and Etrigan. They go down to hell for some reason, pull Merlin back, and then they've got back from the dead, just a different mechanism than the Lazarus Pit.
Mm.
Mechanism to come back from the dead. Guys, when are we taking over the world again?
Well, we talked about this in the pre-show. We're too lazy to take over the world because there's a lot of work involved once you take over. We need a bunch of good lieutenants that work under us that maintain the world while we live in the lap of
Well,
luxury.
if you've been listening to the Crimson Comet, the three of them have decided that they're going to split the country, and I assume Canada too, into three parts. So they've got Will, who's going to be taking the West Coast. You've got Haley, who's going to be taking the central parts, the plains, the Midwest, that sort of thing. And then you've got Lobster, who's going to be taking the East Coast. So we've already got North America acconet for. We just
Haley
need...
kind of gets screwed in that, doesn't she?
Well, she's in the middle with two guys. Yeah.
Well, I was just meaning that region sucks. I lived in there.
Well, I mean,
time.
it depends. I mean, you've got Dallas in there, you've got Chicago, you got St. Louis, a lot of beer. I mean, Haley likes beer. I think it's all working.
Okay, you said beer, so I'm willing to concede the point now.
There you go.
I, for one, welcome my rum daddy overlord.
Hey, I'm in Gloucester Town, so I'm good.
All right, so moving on with the villains. Who's this Damien Dark, and what has he done to Arrow?
So Damien Dark, we actually got teased at the end of last season. Remember, he's Roz's big bad, his good friend, who they then revealed or hinted at the fact that he is running Hive, which was hinted at in season 1 with Diggle, I think, that he looked them up. I can't remember. Hive pulled the strings,
it was
though, that
second
caused his
season.
brother- okay, but Hive was the ones that pulled the strings that got his brother killed by Deadshot. So it's all sort of coming back together, and Damien Dark is the one that's going to be heading all of this up. And what's really cool is the casting news came out, and Neil McDonough is going to be playing Damien Dark. And for those of you,
Dugan.
exactly, if you're an MCU fan, you might know him better as Dum Dum Dugan from Cap 1 and Agent Carter.
He is a wonderful villain. He also plays a wonderful hero. So I just love seeing him on screen because he can go either way really quickly. He was in Band of Brothers. He's done a lot of great stuff.
He is one of those guys that is a great supporting character. You see him in everything, and you're like, oh yeah, I've seen you in this and this. And you go and look at his IMDb, and you can just see, holy crap, this guy's done a bunch of different stuff. And he's generally nailed it.
Every single time. I have not seen him in a bad role. So what do you think he's going to do here?
Well, he's our big bad this season, so it'll be establishing him and then having some sort of nefarious plan for Star City, I imagine, that the Arrow has to stop. Excuse me, the Green Arrow has to stop.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving on, we've got this Baron, I'm going to say this wrong, Ryder?
Yeah, writer or reader. So when this was announced, it's actor Jimmy Akingbola, a black actor from the UK who hasn't done a ton of stuff stateside, but series over in the UK with BBC like Ballot Monkeys and other seasons. So a very well-respected actor, just not over in North American, definitely not in genre roles. But the confusion, I think, on the interwebs came when a lot of the fanboys looked up Baron Reader or Ryder, or however they're going to pronounce it, and they said, oh, that's the real name of Baron Blitzkrieg, a World War II era Nazi villain. So Baron Ryder or Reader is Baron Blitzkrieg, which was kind of odd to see an African-American Nazi. And Mark Guggenheim actually had to take to the internet and say, no, we're using the same name, but it's our own take on the character. He's definitely not a Nazi. He's leading a new criminal organization called the Shadow Spire, but we're taking it in a new direction. And they're going to use him primarily in flashbacks.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Okay, so a lot of the comics are based in World War II for a lot of different reasons, but we are getting separated by the clock by almost 100 years. I mean, it's not there yet, but we're going to get there at some point in time. And the people that are new to comics are not going to have the same viewpoint of Nazis as our generation or our parents or grandparents' generations did.
Oh, Nazis will always be Nazis. The great thing about Nazis is that you can do anything with them.
Well, yeah, but my point is, if you take characters like Baron Blitzkrieg and you make a new lore that's not entirely based in the Nazi background, I think you're going to get a little bit more welcome for that type of character in the future.
Probably right.
Yeah.
That's what they did with the 10 Rings in Iron Man. They made them like a terrorist organization instead.
Yep, they did.
It'll work.
Now, did anyone catch the Ant-Man teaser when they were, no, spoiler alert, auctioning off the Yellow Jacket suit? One of the guys in the group that saw the test case actually had a 5 rings tattoo on the side of his
I
neck.
saw that.
No, I
Yeah, I saw
didn't. Oh, good catch. Good
I
catch.
figured that was in part Ward was just consolidating people to run Hydra or to help him run Hydra at this point because they've been decimated. So he needs all of the people he can get because that was the Easter egg I was hoping to get in Ant-Man was Ward show up for the Yellow Jacket auction since he's heading up Hydra.
And for all you out there, we did just cross the streams majorly. We went from a DC TV show to a Marvel Cinematic Universe film. So
Sorry.
apologies for there, but okay, so that's Baron. So Wing, we also have Anarchy, which I guess is in the Bat universe.
Yeah, Anarchy is a Batman villain that was created like at the end of the 80s, and after the Frank Miller Revolution and Batman, they were trying to get more edgy character. And basically, the name says it all. The guy rallies homeless people and stuff like that and makes an army and create anarchy because he wants to destroy the soul of Gotham City. And what is the soul of Gotham City? It's Batman. So
I thought it was Gordon.
well, you know what? There's a paper to write on that actually,
Yeah, okay.
which I'm not gonna go into, but that's not a bad interpretation of the character.
Yeah,
But-
so beat Arkham Knight and then go and revisit that paper. It'll be a very interesting story it would tell. I'm not going to
Yeah.
go into any spoilers.
Yeah, here you go. So yeah, so I'm curious to see how they're gonna bring that to Star City, and if they're gonna do what they did in season 4 and reuse a Batman storyline, or they're just gonna use a character and take it in another direction. Because let's face it, that's still an edgy subject a little bit, like playing with trying to get the population to rise.
Right. So I'd only heard of him because he was in Batman Arkham Origins as a villain in that game. And honestly, I had not heard of Anarchy before that. And he's referenced in Arkham Knight. You can go in and see his Anarchy gear in the evidence lockup. So I didn't know much about it, but you might get some of the Arkham Origins and Arkham Knight gamers that go, oh, I remember who that character is, and get a tie-in that way.
Well, he has actually crossed over with Green Arrow in the comics. SP, do you want to take that one?
I wish.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So in the Kevin Smith run, or after Kevin Smith left the last Green Arrow run, so before the New 52, Anarchy actually showed up in Star City after there was a big downtown bombing, and somebody was actually framing him. And because Ollie has always been more sympathetic to the plight of the common man, he actually came to Ollie to say, listen, that wasn't me. Somebody's framing me. And it's basically a neat look at how the two characters have the same ideal in mind, but approach it two very different ways. And how Anarchy is disappointed where he thought that Oliver Queen was going to be more proactive and less about the system. So a really neat way of looking at how it can be taken to extremes. And I'm betting that's how they're going to approach it in Arrow, saying that, listen, both these people are caring for about the little guy. It's just how you choose to go about it.
Okay, I can see it.
Yep. Okay, so are we done with the villains, or do we got anything more?
We had one that was actually announced just this morning.
Ooh.
Comicbookmovie.com broke the news, and they're bringing actually a Flash rogue this time. So for a change, not a Bat villain into the Arrowverse. they're bringing a character by the name of Double Down,
Uh-huh.
who's going to be played by J.R. Bourne into the Arrowverse. Now, Double Down, I had to do some checking myself, is a metahuman who can turn his playing card tattoos into deadly weapons. So, again, feel free to cross the streams, guys, but it's kind of a special power that we've seen before.
Yeah.
A pretty common trope in these in comics. But what's interesting is that J.R. Bourne, and if the name sounds familiar, again, if you're a genre fan or urban fantasy fan, was a regular on Teen Wolf. So it's really interesting this season where we get one Teen Wolf character returning from Arrow to Teen Wolf, Roy, and we're getting Double Down now coming over in J.R. Bourne over from Teen Wolf to Arrow. Now, you might have seen him on Revenge. He was in 11 episodes of Revenge. He was on The Secret Circle. And then he's had little bit parts in Suits, in Fringe, and some other shows
That's why
across
I remembered
TV.
him.
Yeah, Fringe. Nice.
I was thinking Suits. I love that show.
And even going back to Smallville. So he's got some genre cred.
The problem is I hear the expression double down, and all I can think is that disgusting sandwich KFC made. And my heart literally starts to slow every time I hear the phrase double down.
Well,
Yeah,
we
you
definitely
don't-
have some upcoming crossovers. We have a known crossover, episode 8, I believe, and then there's going to be a 2-episode lead-in to Legends of Tomorrow, which we don't know exactly when that's going to be. I'm assuming that's going to be the mid-season finales, but I don't know. That'll be rocking to do a triple crossover for that.
Oh, that'll be badass.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that's just speculation on my part. So maybe some characters like Double Down or whatever will be instrumental in that. We will see.
SP's trying to stop my heart. He keeps saying the word double down. I can feel the cholesterol just form by hearing that word.
See, I'm a blackjack player, so Double Down has a different
Oh, God, there it is again.
connotation of me.
I think any fans listening who are graphic artists need to do a superhero in a KFC Double Down
Yes.
spandex suit.
You make that happen, I will retweet the ever-living crap out of that and feature it everywhere I can.
Chris, you happen to know a graphic artist that might be able to make that possible.
That's true.
Yeah. We'll
I
have
might
to
have
talk.
to make this happen.
Have to talk to Anthony about that. Okay, so that's all the characters, right? Nothing more.
We know of so far.
Okay, so
They
that's
keep
what.
dropping them on us randomly. God knows what they're going to announce tomorrow.
I
that we don't have
know.
time to talk
Well,
about.
and they just started filming, so I mean, they might start rolling stuff out as they start filming the episodes. And talking about filming the episodes, I think they're into episode 1 right now, right?
Actually, they wrapped episode 1 principal photography yesterday.
Oh, cool.
So
Ooh.
episode 1 principal photography is done. It wrapped on the 23rd. The script was, and just to give you some idea of the turnaround here, the first production draft of the script was done on June 30th. Over the next few days, they ran through the next few drafts. Final revisions were done July 12th. They started filming on July 13th, and they wrapped 10 days later.
Impressive.
Jeez, that's fast.
That's TV pace, man. They got no choice. They got to move.
Isn't the normal time period about 8 days per episode?
Still fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8, 10, whatever. It's fast.
Yeah, and when you have to fly your actors, and Stephen Amell, I think, goes back to L.A., from L.A. up to Vancouver, get to spend some time with family. Maybe it is 8 when it's all said and done.
Yeah, true. So the title is Green Arrow. Wow. Green Arrow is the title. Been waiting 4 years for that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, and they brought in some solid directing credits for it. Thor Freudenthal, who directed the Al Sahim episode 21 of season 3, and episode 9, The Climb, with the big Ra's al Ghul showdown. That's pretty awesome, as well as one episode of Flash so far, Out of Time, and Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters. So he knows his way around the director's chair.
Nice.
And those 2 episodes that you named from last year were pretty good. So
I just wish my name was Thor. That's pretty awesome.
I know. It's great. I can't tell if that's a stage name or that's like his real name.
I don't know, but it's awesome.
It is. If you could change your name, would you change your name to Thor, or would you choose something else?
Well, I wouldn't do it now. I already know there's people named Thor, and people think I just did it because of the movie.
Well, why not? Oh, the movie.
Yeah.
What do you got against
I don't
Hemsworth?
Be a trendy hipster.
Jeez. Yeah.
I wear glasses, but they're not giant and plastic.
All right.
You have a beard.
Well, I've had a beard since before it was cool, and I will reiterate, I have a beard because I'm lazy. I trim a beard once a week instead of having to shave every day.
I know, and but then when I had a beard, I shaved the beard off for the summer. But when I had the beard, I noticed I would have to trim it about 3 times a week. So I just didn't have to do it in the morning when I was running out to work. So
equals laziness.
And
it's a win.
Right.
But when you have a cold, the beard is beard.
Well, don't get sick.
Come
Come on, Wing.
I'm in Canada.
I'm in West Virginia. All it does is snow in the winter.
Yeah.
I talked to an actor a couple of days ago who is from Montreal, and he seemed to think that there was not such a thing as a snow day.
Yeah, there's some people that would see that.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. I think we're done with what we know of episode 1 of season 4 so far. Looking forward to that. But we have a few general news items, one of which was, and too bad Jay's not here, but CW had big plans for Harley Quinn. Duh. I think we all knew that. Until they were told to shut it down. Huh.
It's kind of that theory that we all had finally gets confirmed.
Yeah, I don't think there was any doubting this theory at all, especially with what was continuing to happen with characters, with Argus, as things rolled around. It's disheartening for me to see this because...
Guys, this is why we can't have nice things, because they take them away and make a movie out of them.
Unless you're in the MCU.
Yeah.
Well, then they only make one TV show. It's not even a superhero TV show.
It is now. You need to get caught up.
Okay.
They make actually, they make multiple TV shows, because Daredevil's technically a TV show.
Jessica Jones. Yeah.
Well, it hasn't come out yet, so it doesn't.
No, Agent Carter. Come on, guys. Come on.
Loophole.
Again, crossing the streams here into the Marvel versus DC. We're just comic fans. It's great. It's like the old Star Trek versus Star Wars. You could be a fan of one but not the other. No, I'm a fan of both. And BSG. That's Battlestar Galactica for those of you that don't know. So yeah, I can be a fan of both DC and Marvel. That's good. We're good. We're all good here. So anyway, we saw that confirmed, and then apparently there's an animated series which will include Arrow and Flash.
Yeah, so CW is doing something to test out new characters. For anybody that's seen Justice League Unlimited, again, an African-American character by the name of Vixen, who has an amulet that allows her to embody the properties of different animals. Fun character, really came into her own, I think, in Justice League Unlimited. And they've got an animated series set in the Arrow and Flash universe. And Stephen Amell and the rest of the gang from the Flash and Arrow are voicing their characters in an animated series. So it should be fun. The trailer was dropped on CW Seed about a month ago, and it looks like a lot of fun.
It really does. There's some funny Cisco moments in it, too.
The old trailer is Cisco.
Yes.
Remove Cisco and you don't have a trailer. It makes it less of a cartoon.
I'm really enjoying these cartoons that are on now versus the ones that were kind of in between the old anime style and now, like Star Wars, and it's just, it's so good.
If you want to go back and really enjoy a superhero one and then feel bad it got canceled, go watch Young Justice on Netflix.
Yes.
The first 2 seasons are on there, and there was so much potential, and because it didn't sell toys, they canceled it. The caveat is the toys sucked.
Yeah, but the show's rock.
The show was so good.
So good.
So good. If you get a chance, they're like 22 minutes a pop. There's, 26 episodes, I think?
Yeah, and there's story arcs. There's evolution between season. It's beautiful.
The tie-in comic was really good also. Oh, man, it's so good.
I screwed up on that one.
I'm still sad to this day. I still rage about it when I look at some of the crap that we have on there now. I'm like, but Young Justice was so good.
Yeah, we've all been there with different shows. I've got mine, definitely. But something that was so good that I'm glad to still have around in various different shows and genres is Jerry Ryan, who came to fame really with Star Trek Voyager, but she's been around the Sci-Fi Channel and different geeky related shows here, and I'm just glad to see her around. She loves playing this sort of stuff too.
She was how Voyager kept their ratings. Every time ratings started to go down, her suit got tighter.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not joking either.
That's a good way to work.
I know, right?
I love 7 of 9. I'm sorry. I just have to say it. It's like we need a support group or something. But yeah, Jerry Ryan coming to Arrow, I'm okay with that.
It looks like it's only a 1-episode deal from what I can tell. She's coming in as a friend of Ollie's parents, and her life is going to be threatened when she runs for political office. So just a short little one-time stint, it would appear. It might turn into more. But I like how this article describes it. It's another move towards Arrow winning its ongoing game of sci-fi guest star bingo.
Yeah,
As you look, they've had Summer Glau from Firefly, Tamo Pennicott from Battlestar Galactica, Ben Browder from Farscape and Stargate. They're trying to touch on them all.
I don't have any. I don't have a problem with any of that.
No.
I mean, and they have got Barrowman. I mean, come on, Barrowman.
If they really want to win, they need to one-up Marvel and get both Michael Hogan and Edward James Olmos to appear.
I don't think. Well,
Oh, no, they got to bring Carrie Fisher on.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh no! If you want to win, you got to get Harrison Ford. But the only one that has a chance of that is Supergirl, and that's because his wife is in Supergirl.
that's true.
They already
Is
got Mark Hamill.
Flash has Star Wars alumni, and Arrow doesn't yet. So
That's
Yeah.
true.
But Jerry Ryan, I'm looking forward to it.
hells yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got a smattering of comic and toys coming at you, and the first one is Arrow's season 2.5. That's the comic run, of course, right?
Yeah, and just quickly, so at the end of season 2, Mark Guggenheim, the executive producer, one of the co-executive producers, in conjunction with DC Comics, launched a direct-to-digital comic to actually explain what happened in the 4 or 5 month period between season 2 and season 3. So they titled it Arrow Season 2.5. Explained a whole bunch of things like how Roy got his suit, where Ollie gets his arrows, and how they set up Merlin having come back to Starling City at that point. It just finished its run with issue 24 this week. If you're interested in what happened in that period, the issues are only 99 cents digitally a pop, so a great value, and it has a lot of fun stuff in it. So highly recommend checking that out.
It's really good.
And I think they're collecting them in published formats too. I think it's like every 4 digitals is 1 published book or something like that.
Wow.
So if that's what's in your bag, you like the published stuff, go to your local comic shop and pick those up.
Sounds like a plan. And also, we're running the Convergence event right now. I think that's still going on, right?
Well, Convergence wrapped up, I think 2 months ago now. It was pretty short when you compare it to Secret Wars, but Green Arrow was one of the characters that got his own 2-issue mini arc during it. He teamed up with his son Connor Hawk in the pre-Flashpoint version. So in this world, he'd never met Connor before, and they faced off with a more mature Black Canary, and then the Kingdom Come version of their daughter. A fun little two episode series, but it allowed them to spin out following Convergence into the DC New You post-Convergence, where they just kept up with the same numbering, issues 41 and 42. And following Convergence, a couple of things that are relevant to the comic happened. Earlier this year, they finally brought Felicity and Diggle into the New 52. But following this, so post-Convergence, they're back out of the comic universe. So we just get them all to ourselves in the Arrowverse.
So I'm glad you mentioned Connor Hawk real quick.
Yes.
I saw that Stephen Amell had done an interview where he said something to the effect of, I have to imagine that Ollie's going to run into his son at some point. in the show.
I can't wait to see Anna Hopkins again in this show. Of course, she's on Defiance, and I do another podcast on the show Defiance on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's called Voices of Defiance. Anna Hopkins is one of the main characters there. She just left the show, at least on the screen, supposedly, but we expect her back. But I would love to see her back in a bigger role in this because she is such a good actor.
Yeah. And, well, if you're interested in seeing what's going on in the DC comic universe with Green Arrow, before they restarted the universe after Convergence, they did a whole bunch of free sneak peek issues that are available on Comixology. So if you're interested to see what's going on with Green Arrow, how he's a bit more serious character in the DC New You, pop over to Comixology and pick up sneak peek #1 Green Arrow. It's free, so why not?
Why not? And something else you should go pick up. You should go pick up some Pop Funkos, right, Chris?
I have picked up a couple of the new Arrow ones. I have the Arrow one actually sitting on my desk at work, and I just picked up late last week, and I forgot to get out of the box. I have the Deathstroke one sitting upstairs on my dining room table.
Chris sent us a picture of it, and I was like, oh, that looks so cool.
So can I admit something shameful to you guys right now?
You sleep with it?
No, I don't. But there's an exclusive version of the Deathstroke one that is an unmasked Deathstroke body with Slade Wilson head. The problem is it's exclusive to Hot Topics. So I went to 2 Hot Topics locally and tried to find it and couldn't. And
You
felt a little
have
dirty
2
afterwards.
Hot Topics in your town? That's kind of surprising to me.
They're about 40 miles apart. I work about 45 miles south from where I live, and there's a mall there, and there's a mall where I live. So after work, I stopped and looked, and then when I was at the mall that weekend locally, I looked. And they're like, yeah, we sold out of those real fast. I was like, if I really wanted it, I could go on Amazon and get it for $22. But I can't justify spending double the price for a Funko Pop.
Why not? It's free shipping.
It's got to pay tax, though, still. So it's not as good as it used to be.
True.
I got a Batman Beyond for $15 in a store that didn't know what they had. I was really happy.
I got a Batman Beyond for $10 on Amazon.
Ooh.
It's sitting on my desk at work. I have an unhealthy addiction to characters I like, but my weird hang-up with Funkos is the ones that don't have mouths or anything that makes you think there's a mouth. Like, if they've got a beard, my mind puts a mouth there. I don't like the ones that's just a plain face. Like, I have the Coulson one, and it bothers me.
Can I agree with that?
It bothers me they have no mouths. So, like, I like the Iron Man armors and things like that because you can't tell if they don't have it. And ironically, the Batman Beyond Pop has a mouth. Yeah, I was like, what the heck?
Agreed.
That's my weird hang-up, though, guys. Don't let me put that on you.
Neil, did you cash in on any of this?
Yeah, I've got Arrow sitting beside Rocket Raccoon on my comic book shelf.
Nice. Oh, that's a good fit. That's great. Again, crossing the streams, but that is a nice fit.
Yeah, we're comic fans. You said that earlier.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
exactly.
It works for me.
Oh, yeah,
I don't have Arrow Funko Pop yet.
There's the Flash ones are out too if you would get a chance, and the Reverse Flash looks really cool, but it has no mouth, so it weirds me out.
And does anybody collect general figurines or statues beyond the Pop Funkos?
Maybe.
I'm not even getting into this because that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, so
okay,
do.
Neil, you've been in my house.
Wing may have 1 or 2 shelves.
I have the same problem, Wing. I like to get those, and I actually did find the Deathstroke Arrow figure that's just come out, and it's gorgeous, and I bought it, and it's hanging on my wall. I almost bought the Dark Archer one, but I was like, I can only buy one of these, and it's going to be Deathstroke. It was glorious. It made me smile inside. And then I got super tempted by the DC Direct statue they have of Arrow from the TV show. Because I found it marked down for like $90, and I was like, "This is really cool," but they just changed the costume, so I don't know if I care.
There's that too, huh? There's when they change a costume or something like that, you don't have the last thing. You become the hipster.
Yeah, I guess I am the hipster douche then.
Yeah.
On this one.
Well, guys, if you have enjoyed listening to us talk and rattle about Arrow and take the conversation just about everywhere from sci-fi to Marvel to DC and just back again, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. You could find all that great conversation on the Gonna Geek Network. We have tons of podcasts. We have articles on our blog, gonnageek.com. So one of we've talked about a lot of different podcasts. We talk about Legends podcast. Chris is on a couple, All Things Good and Nerdy, and Walking the Walking Dead. By the way, Chris, Walking the Walking Dead, you guys are going to start that up in August this year on Fear the Walking Dead, right?
Sure.
Right. So the Walking the Walking Dead podcast will be back this fall looking at Fear the Dead. And one of the podcasts that is active right now, as I mentioned before, is Voices of Defiance. I'm just going to put a promo in it for this particular one, episode number 38. I tried to tell Jesse Rath, who plays Alec Tarr on Defiance, what the stranger is. Okay, this was a weird conversation. It was a great conversation. He stayed 3 times as long as we thought he was going to stay, and he was telling stories about when he met George Lucas, about when he met Jean-Luc Picard, and everything else. It was a wonderful, amazing talk. So go check that out. That's episode 38. That's on the feed on Voices of Defiance. Go check that out.
What is a stranger?
This is a family-friendly podcast, but we can't talk about
You
that.
should go check out the non-family friendly podcast, Wholesome Addiction, if you really need to know what the stranger is. All right. Thank you very much. We had a few listeners come in. I just want to say hi to Green Clawed Wit, who is in the chat on Mixler, could not get into the chat on chatwing.com. Green Clawed mentioned earlier that they couldn't legally share Suicide Squad at that time. So I think that was the trailer that we were talking about earlier in the podcast. And then Adam's been in and out, and he is now in the chat, and he has stated, hey, tried watching Dark Matter, but my cable was too glitchy. So the comment about rewatching was more about how there are still a lot of episodes from your first watch that aren't up yet. So I'm going to throw that over to Wing for his comment on the past watch episodes.
The watch episode?
The episodes that we watch and podcast on that are not up on the feed yet. On Arrow.
Okay. Yeah, they're coming.
Yeah. The intention is to release those on the feed, Adam. That's basically what...
Yes, that's the intention, but the time is not coming. That's the problem.
Yeah. So we'll get them up there eventually, and they'll be up there so you can talk about, or you can listen to us talk about our early addictions to the show. So it's great. As I mentioned, you can find all our contact information on the Gonna Geek Network at gonnageeknetwork.com. Check out all the forums and our other shows. We have a voicemail line, 612-888-CAVE, C-A-V-E, or 612-888-2283. Go ahead, give us a voicemail. If you have a problem, if it's an international call for you and you just can't get it, you can email me at stargatepioneer@gonnageek.com. You can email Wing at nightwing@gonnageek.com. Either one of us, and just send an MP3 file and we will get it and play it on the podcast. So, any last words at Roundtable Nerds?
Constantine.
At Nightwing_GG.
Anarchy.
At Neil Isn't Witty.
Just for Chris. Double down.
Oh, it hurts.
And this is the one and only time you'll hear me say it. My Twitter account is at Stargate Pioneer. Ben Affleck is Batman.
Damn right he is.
This is Ben.
This was the Starling Tribune. You can leave us feedback at gonnageek.com or check out our archive at starlingtribune.com. Visit gonnageek.com for more podcasts. Music by Kevin McLeod can be found at incompetech.com. This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, stories, and situations are the properties of Time Warner. No infringement is intended. We will see you for the next episode of CW's Arrow.